On April 17th, U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce publicly accused China's Changguan Satellite Company of continuously providing high-precision satellite imagery to Yemen's Houthi rebels, which is used for attacking U.S. warships and innocent merchant vessels. Bruce firmly stated that the U.S. has repeatedly warned Beijing, but Changguan Satellite has refused to change its actions and continues to provide military support to the Houthis. She said, "The fact that they continue to do this is unacceptable." The U.S. deployed 7 B-2 stealth bombers as a direct warning to the Chinese Communist Party, signaling that attempts to manipulate the situation behind the scenes would no longer go unnoticed. On the same day, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky publicly criticized China, accusing Beijing of providing military aid to Russia, including weapons, ammunition, and support for establishing military factories in Russia. On April 11, Zelensky disclosed at a defense meeting that hundreds of Chinese nationals were fighting alongside Russian forces in Donetsk. On April 8, he shared evidence on X showing Ukrainian forces had captured 2 Chinese soldiers with identification documents and bank cards. This evidence prompted Zelensky to assert that Beijing is directly involved in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Zelensky stated that Ukraine has evidence of Chinese representatives engaging in weapons production in Russia. Sources in China revealed that Russian aircraft engines, turboshaft engines, propellers, and aviation materials were supplied by China, which also built 3 engine factories and fighter jet production lines in Russia's Far East and Siberia within a year. Zelensky noted that Russia's artillery shells, often labeled as North Korean aid, are widely believed to originate from China's northeastern regions in Xinjiang. Many shells, bullets, and rockets are produced secretly, some unlabeled or marked with Russian or North Korean labels before reaching the battlefield. China's foreign ministry denied these claims, but international skepticism persists. China's history of supplying arms to groups like the Taliban suggests such actions align with its practices. In 2021, China tested hypersonic glide vehicles, and in 2023, Russia's hypersonic missiles in Ukraine resembled Chinese designs. NATO intelligence suggests collaboration between China's Academy of Sciences and Russia's Taganrog Aviation Research Institute. China's rapid construction of military factories in Russia indicates deep military-industrial cooperation, raising concerns about its strategic intentions. On the surface, Changguan Satellite appears to be a private enterprise, but in reality, it is directly controlled by the Chinese military. Tracing its roots, the company's parent is the Changchun Institute of Optics, Fine Mechanics, and Physics. It was established in 1952 and has long provided optical equipment for the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Matthew Bruzzies, a China defense expert at Blue Path Labs, a consulting firm that works with the U.S. government, revealed that the executives of Changguan Satellite even report directly to Zhang Youxia, the top general in the Chinese military who is second in command after President Xi Jinping. China has long utilized a civil-military integration strategy, deploying businesses for international military tasks while denying involvement, attributing actions to independent corporate behavior. U.S. officials have recognized this approach, noting that despite China's public calls for peace, it permits affiliated companies to engage in disruptive international activities. The U.S. compares this to historical expansionist strategies, stating that the international community will not tolerate such actions. In August 2022, U.S. intelligence confirmed that Changguan Satellite provided high-precision satellite imagery and near real-time monitoring data to Russia's Wagner Group, aiding its operations in Ukraine. The U.S. Department of the Treasury noted these efforts enabled precise targeting of Ukrainian defenses and supply routes, contributing to the intense Bakhmut battle. In January 2023, the U.S. sanctioned Changguan Satellite, but the company continued supplying intelligence to Wagner. By May 20, 2023, Wagner captured Bakhmut, devastating the city. On June 24, 2023, Wagner's leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, launched a rebellion against Moscow, seizing southern Russian bases. Changguan Satellite, despite sanctions, later provided intelligence to Houthi forces in the Red Sea, actions likely authorized by Chinese officials. The Houthis' precision strikes rely on Chinese technology, including 0.3-meter resolution satellite imagery, Beidou's 1.3-meter positioning, and advanced data transmission, forming a comprehensive intelligence and attack system. Despite over 190 Houthi attacks on U.S. and international ships from late 2023 to 2024, most failed, with U.S. defenses neutralizing threats without damage. This suggests China's touted technology underperforms in combat. Houthi weapons such as Iran's Qadr and Toufan missiles resemble China's YJ-83 missiles, while their Samad-3 drone mirrors China's CH-4. The Shahed-136 drone, used by Iran's Revolutionary Guard, shares engine, navigation, and image recognition features with China's Rainbow Series drones. On January 11, 2024, U.S. Navy SEALs intercepted a vessel off Somalia's coast carrying missile parts for Houthi rebels, marked with Chinese labels. U.S. experts confirmed these guidance components matched Chinese military models with tracking labels removed. On January 28, 2024, the U.S. Coast Guard seized ballistic missile components and explosives in the Arabian Sea, also linked to Chinese military technology. In October 2024, the U.S. sanctioned Shenzhen Rirong Technology, Shenzhen Jinghong Electronics, and Shenzhen Boyu Import and Export for supplying missile guidance components to the Houthis. In February 2024, Israel's Mossad reported that from 2022 to 2024, 47 Chinese military experts worked at Iran's Parchin facility near Tehran, enhancing Iran's ballistic missile and drone technology. These advancements were transferred to the Houthis for attacks on the U.S. warships and international shipping. China allegedly supported these efforts indirectly, testing its weapons through the Houthis and sending military advisors to Iran to train Houthi forces in advanced technologies. Military technology was reportedly disguised as civilian equipment through intermediaries in Pakistan and Malaysia to evade sanctions and oversight. In 2017, China established its first overseas military base in Djibouti, spanning 36 hectares and capable of housing 2,000 personnel. Equipped with a dock, helicopter pad, and ammunition depot, it was presented as supporting anti-piracy and commercial shipping protection missions, though its actual functions extend beyond these claims. A 2023 U.S. Department of Defense report detailed the base's expanded role. A 65-meter signal tower, fitted with advanced surveillance equipment, intercepts military and civilian communications within a 300-kilometer radius, monitoring Red Sea and Gulf of Aden maritime activity. In early 2024, China deployed the Uranus intelligence vessel to Djibouti for sustained operations, intercepting U.S. and allied radar and communication signals. The presence of 052D destroyers and supply ships has created a robust reconnaissance network. General Langley, U.S. Africa Command Commander, stated that China's intelligence operations in Djibouti exceed anti-piracy objectives and support Houthi military activities. China's strategic aim in Djibouti aligns with its extensive Middle East economic interests, including billions in investments in over 1,000 oil wells. Controlling Djibouti helps safeguard these assets. China seeks to engage regional powers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, offering port and railway development and intelligence sharing. However, these nations remain skeptical, casting doubt on China's commitments. Saudi Arabia is planning a major operation with 70,000 troops to counter the Houthis, indicating a preference for continued U.S. presence in the region. China's reliance on the Djibouti base to dominate the Red Sea region appears unlikely to succeed. Since November 2023, Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping routes have significantly disrupted global supply chains. The Suez Canal, the shortest maritime link between Asia and Europe, facilitates 12% to 15% of global trade and approximately 30% of container transport, underscoring its critical role. A statement from Egypt's Suez Canal Authority on October 6, 2024, reported a 60% year-on-year revenue decline since early 2024, with transit vessels down 49%. Daily ship passages have dropped from 75 to 80 to 32 to 35, highlighting the Red Sea's crises' substantial impact on the global economy. To avoid ongoing Red Sea attacks, many merchant ships have rerouted around the Cape of Good Hope, extending voyages by 5,500 to 11,000 kilometers. This adds 10 to 14 days of transit times, with fuel costs rising up by $1 million per round trip, doubling freight rates. In January 2024, Tesla halted its Berlin Gigafactory for 2 weeks due to supply chain issues, underscoring the Red Sea crise's impact on global manufacturing. Ship insurance costs have surged dramatically. The London insurance market designated the southern Red Sea as a high-risk area, increasing war risk premiums from 0.1% to 0.2% to 0.7% to 1% of a ship's value. For a $100 million cargo ship, premiums rose from $100,000 to over $1 million. By September 2024, some insurers ceased coverage for the region. These costs passed through supply chains have driven global goods prices higher. The European Liaison Committee for Agricultural and Agri-Food Trade estimates the crisis could affect €70 billion in EU agricultural trade, exerting significant pressure on food prices. China has leveraged the Red Sea crisis to advance its geopolitical goals, promoting UN internationalization and expanding Belt and Road land routes to gain influence amid global disruptions, posing risks to supply chain security. The Houthis' exemption of Chinese and Russian vessels from attacks suggests China's influence. While Western shipping companies like Maersk and MSC reroute around the Cape of Good Hope, incurring higher costs, China's state-owned COSCO Shipping continues using Red Sea routes, saving time and expenses. Western clients seeking cost savings have shifted to COSCO, boosting its market share. In Q1 2024, COSCO's international container business profits grew nearly 60% year-on-year. The Red Sea crisis has reached a critical point, prompting international action. U.S. military strikes have weakened the Houthis, while China maintains a facade of neutrality. Evidence of China's role in escalating the crisis, from the Red Sea to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, is mounting. Trump's stance towards the CCP has grown increasingly tough, with his administration intensifying its psychological pressure on Beijing. When the CCP attempted to use trade negotiations as leverage, demanding that the Trump administration control the criticism of its cabinet members, it was firmly rejected. White House cabinet members have long been strong critics of Beijing. The CCP is facing unprecedented isolation on the international stage, and a full reckoning is imminent, just waiting for the right moment to unfold.